Hey, so I scored this TRD wheel on eBay and definitely got a really good price on it. Today I'm going to be going over on how to actually install this into the 22 Plus Tundra. I have no idea how to do this. However, I've installed a few steering wheels before and it's actually pretty straightforward. I can already see I'm going to need to transfer over all the electronics. The airbag does not come with the steering wheel. And the first step is really removing the airbag. And we'll dive right into this and I'll show you how I was able to install this. So the first step to any steering wheel swap is removing the airbag assembly. And on the back of the steering wheel, once you remove it, you'll be able to see a hole or an area to poke through with a screwdriver or a tool of some sort, which will release the pin on the airbag. And I'll show you how this one works. I like to use the Torx because they have a flat end at the bottom. And I'll show you why that's important. So you'll stick that through the hole. I'm doing this one-handed, but you can see that's the airbag clip. And as I push down, that will release the clip. So you do this on one side, it'll kind of raise up the airbag. You do it on the other side and then the airbag pops off. You'll disconnect the electrical connections for the airbag. Before I do any of that, I'm going to be removing the ground off the battery to disable it from the car. And that way we don't get an airbag light. All right, battery is in the upper left-hand corner of the engine bay. There was a 110mm nut. You just loosen this up, then pull the negative cable off the battery, and that is how you remove the battery essentially from the vehicle's connections. And that will make sure that you don't have any errors or anything. The car won't sense that you've done anything. And before we get started, I have the platinum. It's got the blue stitching. I still think it'll look pretty good with this TRD wheel because this is the TRD off-road package and it does come with the TRD gear selector and the TRD red button. And being that the TRD wheel does not have any colored stitching except for that red band up top, I think it'll still look really good. And that is the hole that we're going to be going through. A lot of steering wheels that I've done don't actually have a guide hole. Again, I'm doing this single-handedly, but you're essentially just pushing it all the way in and finding where that point catches, and then this side of the airbag will lift up. I'll do the other side and I'll be able to slide that right off. All right, so this one stumped me a little bit. There's always the two clips on the left and the right. You can see them right here. But there's also one at the bottom, and I'll show you what I did. I'm by myself right now, so it's a little bit difficult to explain, but I'm holding the airbag. This is what you want to do, and then you disconnect these connections right there with a small flathead, and you'll be able to slip those right out. All right, you want to gently lift up those those are the lock tabs, and then you can slide that connection right off. All right, this is what the back of the wheel looks like. There was a little grounding point right here, and this was on a tab. When you're working in here, you're going to want to have a pick tool like this ready to go, or a little flathead. But that's what I needed essentially to get these connections off. And this was the tab that I was mentioning, this one extra spring, let's call it. And what I did was when I got off the top, I was able to get the tool down here, and then I just lifted it up and it popped right out. You know, you want to be ready to kind of catch everything, not that it's going to spring out. However, you don't want to scratch anything up when you're removing this. The whole point is to, you know, retain everything, not break anything. And this is the process. The next is going to be getting a hex into the center nut that holds the steering wheel on. All right, we got a 10mm hex. Make sure you have one of these before you get started. And put it in the center and simply loosen it up. Plan B was a impact gun. It was really tight, but maybe I just didn't have enough leverage. Definitely can't do it single-handedly. You have to hold the wheel, but this impact gun got it loose right away. All right, this one connector needs to be loosened. Again, have that pick ready, and you literally just pull it off. Make sure everything snakes through, and you're left with this. Do not rotate this. This is your clock spring. I've broken those before. It's not fun. Keep everything just like that until you get your steering wheel back on. Take the steering wheel out. You can leave your tools and your airbag and your center nut in the car, and now it's time to swap over the rest of the components. All right, easy enough. We just need to transfer over these electrical components. That is next. These are the two wheels side by side. The platinum wheel is really nice. I believe it's actual leather like the rest of the interior. I did like the darker accents and the TRD symbol, and I know the TRD wheel is heated. So if you're upgrading to a heated wheel, I believe all you need is the button that is right over here. That's what I read on the pages. I don't believe any kind of programming is required. I think you just need that button, and you will be able to have a heated steering wheel if you move to the TRD wheel. I'll try to find a part number to this TRD wheel and paste it on the description. But essentially, I'm moving over from a heated leather platinum wheel with the blue stitching to a heated TRD wheel with perforated leather, which is pretty cool because it sort of matches the seats on the platinum. I think it'll work either way. This is kind of like full, and you can see the differences, but I like it. It's gonna be cool. All right, wow, that was really straightforward. Literally just 2 Phillips head screws. Lifted that up, and I can remove this and literally just move it right into here. I wasn't even expecting it to be that straightforward, but literally that's all it is. I did notice this says HST, this says HXT, which is interesting. I'll confirm everything works in a little bit, but worst case scenario, I guess I can transfer over whatever that is. However, everything looks to be the same, except for some different lettering there, but let's see what happens. All right, I think I skipped over something that's pretty important. And first of all, I got the wheel back in about 10 seconds after I switched over everything. I slid the wheel back in, and I realized there is no marker for the 12 o'clock position on that spleen for the wheel. So before you remove it, mark with a marker, if you can, where that 12 o'clock position is. Obviously, you're switching over a steering wheel. I feel like the steering wheel should be marked, but it is not. I would literally just etch it right onto the spleen. Yeah, worst case scenario, it's off a degree, and you need to go back in and just give it a, loosen up the center nut, tilt it, and you'll be fine. But it is interesting that the steering wheel is not marked for that 12 o'clock position. All right, so I've slid back in the connections. They only go in one way. They are color-coded. Make sure you get that ground installed and that white clip installed, and essentially you're just going to line this up and just push down, and you'll hear a snap, and that's it. Your steering wheel is installed. Get a better shot of it, but you can see it's got the TRD red start from the factory with the TRD off-road. It's got it on the gear selector, and now on the steering wheel. I think it looks really good. All right, final step, obviously, make sure to tighten up that 10mm. You'll hear the battery and everything starting. Make sure that's tight. Get in the car and turn it on. Make sure you don't have any error messages or anything like that. Let's see. Oh, key not detected, great. Okay. Make sure you don't stab yourself with anything. Let's see. Good. No airbag light. Everything looks good. Just press the heated steering wheel, make sure that works, but everything appears to be in working order. So that looks really good. I just got to close my hood, obviously, and clean some things up, take some pics, but super happy with the steering wheel. So hopefully this helps people if you have any questions with anything. All right, that is the final result. I did get that black cover for the Toyota emblem on eBay. I think it looks a little bit better. I wish I had some darker accents like those vents, but it seems like a lot of work for that. I think this is where I'll stop with the interior, but this platinum wheel will go up for sale, and hopefully the net will be, the delta will be very minimal to trade over from the platinum to the TRD wheel. All I needed was, I used the Torx T10. I used a right angle pick to get that, to get some of those connectors out and that lower clip down here. 10mm hex and a Phillips head. So you really need minimal screws, and I pretty much wrapped this up in probably I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, but it felt very, very easy. Hopefully this helps people, again, maybe mark the steering wheel at the 12 o'clock position or the spleen before taking it out. But this is a super easy DIY. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll do my best to respond and also put up that part number if I can find it for the TRD wheel. All right, thanks again.